Why? Why? Tell me why. Tell me why. Why? Hey, this is Gazbot, and this is the Horror Production Report update number 7. And we're back. I may seem a bit washed out. I'm outside on my little porch. I thought the natural lighting would be good. But I don't know, the sun's kind of hitting me in a weird way. Also, I couldn't really find a correct angle, a height angle for the camera, so I have it on a tripod, but then I have it leaned against the railing and a chair, so we might have an exciting moment where you see the camera go flying and I go chasing after it, assuming that happens, and I recover the footage. Likely it won't. Moving on. So this video is going to be a little bit more straightforward than the last one. Obviously I was in Hawaii, but the last few I've done sort of daily updates. Now I have not filmed anything until today, and we're at day 10. I wanted to do these about once a week. I mean, technically I am doing it about once a week, but you know, 7 days is a week, not 10, but you get what I'm saying. I did more work than I did last week, still not as much as I'd like to, which is just a recurring theme in every video that everybody does with the hundreds or with any art project, it seems. So while I'm not happy about that, I'm certainly in good company. Now, I started off strong, got back from Hawaii, was catching up on some stuff, as you saw in the last video, and then this week, the first day was Wednesday. I did 2 hours on the horror. And I'll show you what I did. I finished up basically page 20, I want to say. So I'll show you where I was at and where I got to. Right here! So I was mostly done with this page, and I finished it up, but I also changed a few things in the bottom 3 panels particularly. Most notably the second panel. I kind of changed the angle so it was more of a down shot so I could show the helicopter circling. And then the last panel isn't really necessary for the story, but just for the mood of like a rah! Okay, so I did that, and wow! I think a cloud moved, and it is bright as butt. Like a white shining, like a god butt. It's the god butt, and it's shining on me. So and it smells like good because it's a god butt. Anyway, as my face melts off from the god butt, Wednesday, yeah, I kind of finished up that page, but I also started on the next page. So I'm going to now go ahead and show you what I got done on the next page. Here, guys! Woo!
So that was page 21. This is page 22. And you can see the rough thumbs there. And this one I actually followed fairly closely. I only did the first 3 panels, but the first shot is sort of behind the jets flying in towards the horror, and then the second one is a reverse of that with the people fleeing from the horror.
There it is. So now, that brings us to Thursday. I'm going to consult my notes. See, that's the thing. When I don't do daily updates, I feel the need to write notes because I forget what I did on what days and who's going where and what my name is and why I have a shirt on. I have a shirt on because of body shame issues. That's the reason. So Thursday, did a lot of client work. I basically was trying to bang out a lot of projects I have, and it's funny because I've been, trying to take less work in general, and when you're starting off as an artist, and even once you're established making work, there's always a thing of like, charge more, ask for more things, don't be such a pushover, blah, blah, blah. And these are all true, and I've said them to people, and I've had them said to me at various times. But it always seems to come back to like, yeah, but I need this money, I need this work, I need this job either for the experience, and I don't mean in that sort of vague nebulous experience way, but like, I'm working at a studio learning After Effects on the job, like actual experience. Or, I'm just so broke that, yeah, $50 isn't enough, but if I ask for 100 and they say no, I'm screwed. So I get that. But what's funny is I'm in a position now where I have enough clients, and I have Q who, has her own income, so that if tomorrow I made no money, I wouldn't be homeless or anything. But I'm in a position now where I can afford to ask for more money, I could afford to ask for more time, and I can afford to turn work down. And that's what I've been trying to do the last year or so to give myself more time to work on my personal stuff. Not cutting out all other work, but a lot of other work. And what keeps happening is I have a little bit of work, and I'm like, okay, this is just enough to get a little bit of money going, keep me going, but I don't need to take more than that. And every time I get to that point, another project pops up that I theoretically want to say no to. But it'll be a case where I'll say, okay, I'm not going to say no, I'm going to charge them more than I normally would. And they say yes. Okay, I'm not going to say no, I'm going to charge them more than I normally would and give myself an extra week or two, say I can't even start it for 2 weeks. And they'll say, okay. So what's been happening is I've been following the advice, you should follow all along, of asking for more money, asking for more time, only taking clients you want to work with, things like that. And it's been working really well. I've been getting more money, having more time, working with better clients, and a few people have said no, but it's that thing of like, you know, I don't want to say they're bad clients because they might have been fine, but like I'm weeding out the bad or mediocre clients or not great clients, so that most of the clients I have now have been great to work with, paying me well, flexible on deadlines, you know, all the things you want in a client, except that I'm trying to cut back on my workload. And it literally is a thing where like every one job I knock down, 2 more pop up. And now maybe one of them, you know, when I tell them a new price or whatever, they say no, but then the other one sticks. So again, I'm not complaining. This is a very first world, very good problem to have. It's just funny that I'm in this situation where now that I kind of don't need as much work, I can't take less work, you know, and there's no one big project. That's the thing. I was like, I'm not going to take any big, you know, several month commitment projects. I'm just not doing that, at least for the time being. So I'm taking stuff that takes a day, a week, 2 weeks, you know, that kind of stuff. But what keeps happening is I knock one out, and like I said, more come up, and it'll be a lot of times getting referrals. Like I did a job for somebody, I'm like, cool, got that knocked out, and then they liked it and referred me to friends, and so then 2 people from that job wanted me to do something for them. And now, again, I'm very grateful that people recommend me. I'm happy people are liking my work, and I'm happy I'm getting the treatment and the money and the time that I need to do a good job. It's just, again, funny because, you know, it's like playing whack-a-mole, you know. And the only downside to this is that I'm trying to spend more time working on the horror and my own artwork, and I'm not really making any ground. Now, I'm still progressing forward. I'm still doing roughly 30 minutes a day, but I was hoping that I'd by this point doing more than that, you know. Even in the 100 days, there were some days I was doing 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. And while I have done that this week, like I said, I did 2 hours Wednesday and I did 2 hours Thursday, although I cut myself off when I started talking about Thursday. It again is averaging out to about a half-hour week, maybe a half-hour day, hour a day tops. It's just broken up differently. So I've been really trying to bang away at the client work I have, and I'm making a good dent in it. Assuming more jobs don't pop up, I should be in good shape in a week or 2 where I could really start hammering on the horror. Now that being said, Thursday that's all I did was client work. Until the evening when I did a hangout of the hundreds, the hundreds, number 4. And so that was a little over 2 hours, and I worked on the horror the whole time. So I'll put a link below, and what the heck, for old time's sake, I'll put one right here. Right here. Here's this link. Click this. And you know, we hang out and we chat, and it's all people that have completed the hundreds or who are currently working on the hundreds. And we work on our projects, hopefully our personal projects, although sometimes time doesn't permit, people have to work on client work. I was working on the Horror A4, so I was working on my personal project, and you could kind of see what we're doing and listen to us chat. So it's better than just watching me draw in real time and, you know, trying to think of something to say. So you can check that out, and along with me, I had to print out a list to make sure I remember everybody. Peter Palmiotti was the one who hosted it, and along with me was Kevin Cross, the founder of the 100s, Caroline Howarth, I'm probably getting her name wrong, Farrell Bolding, J. Allen Ratz, me, Gaz Gretzky, Johannes Vick, and Scott Cirkworks Cirkland. So that was who was on that show. So if you like any or all of those people, it's worth checking out. If you don't know who they are, it's worth checking out. If you hate the sound of my voice and you hate art, then don't check it out. Otherwise, you'll probably enjoy it. So that was Thursday. So my cat, I just heard my cat jingle her collar, and I thought she somehow got outside, but she's just right up at the glass, like, what are you doing out there? It's an outside, and you're talking. That's not how she really talks. She's more like, hi, I'm a cat. Or that's how I hear her in my head. And when I speak out loud for her. So anyway, that was Thursday, so luckily I got like 2 hours work done there. And most of that work was on page 22, which I had already started, but I pretty much finished up. I went back and retouched it later. But I'll go ahead and show you where I was and then where I got to by the end of that hangout. So here,
so this is where we were with page 22, and I basically got to finish it up. I didn't really change the stuff on the top 2 panels at all. I had said 3 last time, I meant 2. Put in these bottom 4. Not super thrilled with all of them. I was most happy with the bottom left with the Thume sound effect.
Oh, there we are. So that's that. So that was a productive beginning to this 10-day week, as I'm calling it. And then I didn't work on the horror for a while. Friday, I had a lot of client stuff to do. Still, I mean, you know, but I just was like, I'm gonna get this stuff done. New stuff came in on Friday, and some of it I finished that day. Like, just, it's here, fine. It was a small job, boom, done. You know, like it was a character, one time, boom, done. And so I just powered all day client work. Then Saturday, I had a party I had to go to, a birthday party I had to go to socially, but then I also had an on-site caricature birthday party I had to do. So it was 2 birthday parties, one where I was being paid and one where I wasn't, but that pretty much took up my whole day. Sunday, another party. This is a party weekend. I'm not like a party guy, like friends hanging out, playing games, that sort of thing. And then Monday, again, just client work all day. I'm not even housework, nothing. I've just been client work, get it out of the way. Tuesday, same thing, client work, get it out of the way. Wednesday, client work, get it out of the way. However, I did have to, for some of this client work, leave the house because I had to go get a print made and a frame and put it together. And that's something I don't normally do. Like if people, I work digitally a lot, obviously, and if people want, I usually say, here's the high-res file, do whatever you want with it. Sometimes people ask about printing it or framing it or whatever, and I used to just do it as part of the service or charge them the exact amount. But then I realized, well, if I charge them a couple bucks for the print and a couple bucks for the frame, that's fine, but I have to go to the print shop and it takes me 20 minutes to get there. Maybe I'm online for 5-10 minutes, get the thing, come back, and then I gotta go to the store, get the frame. And like, it's actually a lot of time out of my day to do that. So I've started charging extra, not a ton extra, but you know, put another 10-20 bucks on top of the cost so that like, okay, you want me to handle this, you don't want to be bothered with it, that's fine, but I'm gonna be compensated for my time because it is taking time away from other projects I could be working on. So that's what I did that day. I did, you know, work, but then I also had to run around and do those errands to make sure the thing was framed for the person, and that job is now done too. The other thing was, that was Wednesday, finally finished up another Gazbot in Japan, which is day 3, which is like, man, it was a 2-week thing. But yeah, these videos just take a long time to do, and they're very hodgepodge, and you know, but if you're into that, it's up, put the link below, and again, for old time's sake, there's the link. For Gazbot in Japan, day 3. So I was feeling good that I accomplished that. I want to get those out more often, but it's just, you know, I have work, I have life, you know, we all do. And it's hard to prioritize that over client work and the horror and things like that, and even over these videos, because it's sort of like a little side vanity thing that some people like, but it's not as much, I mean, it's a commitment that I said I was going to do it, but it's not this, like, updating commitment that I've given myself. Even though I'm not doing the 100 Days of Comics, per se, I haven't missed any updates, like, except for when I was in Japan. So in a way, that's sort of part of it. Anyway, I digress. So that brings us to Thursday, which was yesterday. And on Thursday, I said, oh man, Wednesday was a week. I should have done a new update. But I haven't worked on it in 5 days. I better do some work today. So Thursday, I did an hour and 15 minutes on the horror. And I'll go ahead and show you what I did there. I think it was more on page 20. I'm looking down at my notes. I apologize. It was on page 22? 23. I don't know. Here it is.
So I mainly just adjusted a few panels towards the bottom of the page. Most notably, the second to the bottom, I put in some tanks, mechs being dropped, and the bottom right, a little bit of foreground.
Back smack! Pop, 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 pop. And that's that. So the other thing I did on Thursday was join a band with the Brady Bunch, and had my voice crack as I sang. No, the other thing I did was another show. CDX, Collection DX, is a toy review site primarily, but they do other things, news, reviews, all that kind of stuff. And they have digital print, and video, and then they also used to have a show, I mean they still do, but it was like on hiatus and they changed a few times. And I'm a fan of this, I've done some reviews for them. The last review I did of Jetman, Black Condor, was for that site. And I kind of know the guy who runs it, and long story short, they're kind of rebooting it and trying a new format. And so we did sort of a beta episode of what they're calling a new season of Collection DX, and it was me and Josh B., who's the owner, proprietor, and co-host, and Chachi Power, also known as Charlie, or Charlie, also known as Chachi Power, I suppose, since Charlie's his real name, who does Rocket Punch Army, and he does his own, you know, toy stuff as well as contributing to CDX. So the three of us, along with J-Man doing the production side of it, did a beta show. And it ran out live, so if you didn't see it then, you can't, you know, you're going to miss out a lot, because there was the show and then a lot after. So if you're into that kind of thing, the live show really is worth checking out. I don't think it's up yet, the edited, you know, recorded version, but it will be soonish. So what I'm going to do is, when it's ready, I'll put a link below, and I'll put a link here. Now, if the link isn't here or below, that means it's not up yet. So wait a day, check it out, or just check out Collection DX on YouTube, Facebook, that kind of thing, and you'll see updates. So, like I said, it's a beta show, so there's some tweaking to do. Right now, the three of us are co-hosts, and I think that's how it's going to remain, but this is my first time doing something on the show with them, so maybe they'll decide they don't want me, and that's fine. So I was at least on this show, but it's worth checking out if you're into toys and things like that, because that's primarily what it's about, Japanese toys specifically. So that was my Thursday. Friday, today, I'm like, wow, I really need to do the video, but I don't feel like I did enough work, so I put another hour in on the horror. So what I did was, first I started the new page, which is page 23. Yeah, so I'd finished up page 22 is what that last was. So I started page 23, and what I did was I just blocked out the panels and put in all the word balloon stuff. So I'll go ahead and put that up. You can see the rough thumbnails to that.
Oh, look, it's some rough thumbnails. What would they need? Probably some lettering. Whee! Lettering! It's so terrible and boring and tedious.
You like that? How I'm hamming? You like how I'm hamming this? I'm hamming it up. It's my pen. I ham it up. Do you like how I'm holding this pen the whole time? That's my new thing. I'm just gonna chuck it like David Letterman or Jon Stewart, both of whom are retired or retiring. Anyway, so that's where I got with that. And that wasn't. I put like an hour 15, and that wasn't the full. That was a chunk, but not all of it. What I then decided to do was design the character who is in that page that I'd never drawn whatsoever. And she's sort of a social worker, manager. She sort of runs the sort of group home that, retirement home that the Boots goes to. So I pulled some photo reference, and I might have spent more like 2 hours sitting now that I think about it. But I pulled some photo reference, and I went ahead and did her, and I actually recorded it. And so here's a speed process that I'll chat over of that character right here.
So I wasn't 100% sure what I was looking for. So first I went and just Googled social worker and, manager and that kind of thing, as well as office. And then I found a few people that looked in the ballpark of what might fit what I had in my mind. And then I tried to do a composite sketch. And then here I was sort of doing a rough sketch based on a few of these individual pictures and disregarding each one. I wanted someone who looked competent, but wasn't going to be someone who was in the trenches every day. I mean, they were an administrator. They weren't somebody that was, washing out poop pans, as it were. So I think I ended up settling on this face here, which was kind of the hairstyle of one, and then sort of a face that I just sort of made up based more on attitude than anything else. And then for the outfit, I had taken, there's a guy that's kind of, you could barely see it on the left there, that had a big wide tie, kind of a pastel, and I liked the idea of giving her kind of his outfit, but then with like a cardigan over it. Again, just because it's sort of future, and who knows what fashion is, and just to, I don't know, make it look a little different. And then I threw in a sort of a rough office area around her as I continued working. Yeah, so here I was just cleaning up the kind of the proportion and moving her bosom. And like I said, I wanted it to be sort of still kind of feminine, but with a, like a tie. Like, I don't know what I was going for as I'm saying it, but what I got here is what I was going for, which was sort of almost like a newspaper editor type thing meets social worker, kind of like I don't got time for your crap and blah, 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 blah. But I'm not going to, I'm going to tell you what to do, but I'm not going to do it. And then I put in a lot of paper and things in the background, and I realized this is sort of a semi-future, but this is like, kind of the bottom of the barrel as far as funding stuff, so they probably still do have a lot of paper. And I put like kind of a coffee machine, but it's like an aqua thing because, caffeine's illegal. And then some plugs that may or may not go anywhere, give her a little Happy Mug cup, and a weird sort of trash can on the bottom right there. And then this is me just trying to figure out, even though this isn't actually a panel, I was sort of laying it out like a panel because in this scene it's going to be her talking to Boots. So I was just trying to figure out like the geography of the office. And I'm kind of coming to the end here where I basically went above and beyond what I needed for a character design. But sometimes I like filling out the environment and some shading. And then that pretty much was it. And that's the character, the social worker / retirement home manager lady. There!
So there's that. I haven't done one of those in a while. Character design, not super exciting character, but there it is. People are yelling outside because I'm outside. Anyway, then I went ahead and did one panel on the page 23, which I'll just go ahead and throw up here real quick. There's a lot of throwing ups. Throwing up.
Look, it's more than just lettering. It's a panel on the upper left. Ha ha!
There it is. So, That was all the work I did this week. Want to do a quick shout out to Kevin Cross. 100 Days, Part 2, finished today. Boom! The master, showing us how it's done. Twice in a row. There's a few other people that are really close as well. I know, I want to say Eric Fares is really close, and a few others. You can check out the V100's page, either on Tumblr or on Facebook. I'll put the links below to see who's where doing what. But a lot of people getting really close, and other people still doing it, just not as close to the end. So that's good to check out. But again, congrats to Mr. Cross, the Kev Man, which he loves. Call him the Kev Man. That's his new thing. He's really into it. Kev Man, the Kev Man. He'll thank you for it, and he'll thank me for telling you. That's not true. He probably wouldn't enjoy it. But well, he might. I don't know. Test it out. So this was 10 days of work, and in those 10 days, I did 6 hours, 15 minutes, 6.25 hours, arguably 7, because I think I might have like not credited myself for some time when I did research and things like that, but let's say it's 6.25 hours. If I was doing the half hour a day for 10 days, it would be 5 hours. So I'm over the half hour, at least by a little bit. So again, the running theme, each one of these updates, I'm not doing a half hour a day, but it's averaging out to at least half hour a day, which means I'm keeping that sort of steady progress going, which is good, but I want to do better. I like where I am right now. I am a little less than 2 pages away from being done with all the roughs for the first issue. I'm going to go back at that point, and I've probably said this before, so forgive me for repeating myself, I'm going to go back and put in the rough letters for the whole issue, is what I've decided. And that will put me in a position where if I want to try to get someone to letter it for me, half the work's done and they can kind of see what I had in mind, and you know, it'll be an easier job for them, which means either they'll be more likely to want to jump on board and be a partner with me, or maybe take a little less money than they normally would. That's option 1. Option 2 is, if I do it myself, well then half the work's already done for me. The other thing is, once I get to that point where I have the roughs, which are a little bit more detailed than they need to be, the benefit of that will be I'll have these rough script lettering and somewhat more detailed roughs than they need to be. And I might send that, either print it out or make a PDF and send it to some people for more comments. Because previously I've only got feedback on the script. And what I might do is take this sort of rough version of the comic and send it to a person or two who are friends of mine, who are artists, who are comic artists. Because the other people I had look at it were just writers or not artists of any kind, because I just wanted tips on the writing. So now that I have it this far, I might send it to someone to see, hey, is this flowing correctly? You know, I'm not worried about like anatomy type stuff, but just as far as clarity of story and pacing and all that kind of stuff, how's this looking to you? And see if there's any notes that way. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do that, but it's definitely a possibility in my head, especially once I get the lettering done. But I also feel like once I get the lettering done, and go back and tighten up a little bit some of the roughs, you know, to get them ready for inks that aren't ready, especially some of the pages in the middle. I feel like once I get to the point where I'm just doing like final inks on the pages, it'll be labor intensive, but it'll be much less mental stress, because it'll be like, okay, it's done, it's set, it'll be more like a job, which sounds bad, but to me is good, because it's like, okay, the guesswork's out of it, the emotional investment isn't really there, it's just like, let me just ink this and make it look good, let me just ink this, you know, and I feel like I'll be able to power through a lot easier. I won't have to psych myself up to do some inks, because now I'm like, oh, if I'm not really feeling it, it's hard to like get in the headspace of writing a script or figuring out how that script goes on a page. I can't really listen to anything while I'm doing it, whereas if I'm just inking, anything could be going on and I'm just inking, you know. So I'm looking forward to that stage, and you know, who knows, maybe I will get it done in time for APE, which was sort of my soft goal. APE I think is in October or August, so it's a few months away, which on the one hand, it's like, oh, it's months away, you know, for like a regular comic artist, that should be no problem. But considering I have other client work and other life stuff, and I'm just slower than the average comic artist, even when I have the time, it's a bit of a ambitious goal, but not impossible. And I want to keep it in mind, because even if I don't make it, if I get, you know, 12 pages finished, or 5 pages finished, or 23 pages, oh, wouldn't that suck if I got 23 but not 24? Anyway, I'd like to have it. And whatever I have done, meanwhile, I could shop around to conventions and show editors and stuff. Not that I'm really looking for a job with someone else, but I would rather the client work I have be in comics rather than caricatures, which is most of what I do nowadays. So this has gone on longer than I wanted to, but it's a little bit more cohesive, and the levels are probably good, even though the sun was putting its butt in my face earlier. The God butt, right? God butt, yes. So that is it for the horror production update today, being, well, I was gonna say today being day 7, which means we have 93, but we're not doing it that way anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and sign off. Here's a video of me at Target. These toys feel weird. They're kind of squishy, but they have like... That's a butt goiter! sure. Oh, why would you make a toy like that? That's so horrifying. Maybe I can do it the other way. It's just some weird tumor anywhere in his body. Are they all like that?